Hey Gemini, how are we today? Just doing our weekly readings. This week we are doing a little bit different. Normally I do our shadow work readings as an all signs reading, but this week I am doing them as the weekly readings. All right. So it is the super full moon in Aquarius this week on the 1st of August here for me in Australia. You may want to check your local times for when exactly that will hit for you. The moon energy, though, it does sort of go an extra day on either side of that peak. But it's a very interesting full moon this time around. It is the first of two this month in August. There will be two full moons, and they both are super moons as well, which does just mean that they are closer to Earth. So those effects usually are pulling on us just a little bit stronger than just a standard full moon. Now, this is known as a sturgeon moon, this full moon, and it will be affecting Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius the most. But I dare say we will all still be sort of feeling some effects there. It's, a time of release and revelations, but we are in Leo season, so expect a little bit of drama, a lot of dramatic conclusions this month. Things may, present to you as quite surprising or drama filled, but they're all just opportunities to realign to your true self and your true purpose. All right. Now, the thing that I really find very interesting about this particular full moon is in China, this is actually known as the Hungry Ghosts full moon. So it coincides with the Hungry Ghost Festival, where they say that the gates of hell open and the hungry dead walk amongst the living. So they do, prepare food and money gifts for the the dead, the spirits at this time, so that they don't sort of wreak havoc on your particular, your actual reality, your life. But the sense of preparing and preparing for future harvest and protection and those sorts of things are quite important with this full moon. So it is the sturgeon full moon. So a sturgeon, in case you don't know, it is a fish. It is actually one of the most critically endangered fish in the world, and it's quite an interesting fish too, because it is they call it a living fossil. So it has remained pretty unchanged, throughout fossil history. It's quite a large fish. They can grow quite large, but they have kind of been hunted almost to extinction. So, it really does sort of bring to light that mind of preparing for future harvest, that if we don't sort of look after our wildlife and the environment around us, as well as the spiritual realm around us, if we're not preparing for future harvest, that things like this sturgeon fish, they will become extinct. So it really is a time for us to um, you know look out for future harvest and what we're doing to prepare for the future harvest and abundance within our own selves as well as the world around us. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that because conservation is quite important to a lot of people in the spiritual community, and a lot of people aren't aware that things like this sturgeon fish are critically endangered, and they're obviously important to the ecosystem. We even name one of our full moons after them, and it is all about that abundance and harvest, and you can't harvest something when it's no longer there. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that, Gemini. I feel as though that is quite important, and that it may have something to do with some of the shadow work some of us are on at the moment, is this conservation of your own abundance, and preserving your abundance and for future harvest, basically. And the same as what we see with that Chinese Hungry Ghosts Festival, it's preparing that harvest of spiritual harvest as well. So you know this full moon, if you are someone who does sort of do a bit of a full moon ritual, it may pay to, think about the harvest and the abundance side of things, and preparing for future harvests, and bringing that into your ritual, preparing, food or monetary donations at this time. All right, so I just wanted to sort of talk a little bit about that, before we sort of got into it for you today, Gemini. But we are, like I said, doing the shadow work reading for you. So this is things that, your higher self will be sort of wanting you to be aware of, things that you can work on within yourself. Coming into the full moon, it is a really good time to be looking at ourselves and how we actually want to better ourselves for future harvest, to do better and receive better in the future. All right, so today I am using the Soul's Journey lesson cards. Okay, we're going to get a bit of an overview with those. I do have the red hand lenormand to get a bit of a deeper look there, but I also have the Hidden Truth Oracle today as well. So normally this picks up other people's energy, but we are going to be using it today to, have a look at some of the hidden truths within you yourself. Okay, Gemini, so this reading is all about you. Okay, so I don't really expect much energy other than your own to be looked at today. And obviously, it's part of your own path. If free will still exists, we don't have to do any work, unless we, feel drawn to do the work. All right, but it is things that, your shadow self wants you to be aware of, so that, you have that opportunity to grow and learn more about yourself. All right, so if you don't know much about shadow work, there's so many resources out there to have a look at that. And a lot of the time we do find shadow work is the growth that happens within ourselves when we face the things that trigger us, that trauma that we've dealt with, the harder things in life. So sometimes these readings are a little bit harder to listen to, but I stick with it, and hopefully we can come with something that is useful to you. Okay, Gemini, but we'll have a look here. Gemini, what does Gemini need to know for their shadow work, please? Okay, Gemini, as your overview, we do have the Perseverance card has come out. All right, so that does say, I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. So a bit of a motto for you coming into this month of August, knowing that you can do anything that you set your mind to. So, persevering through those harder things, facing those demons, so to speak, and persevering through the harder times to get back to the happy times. All right, maybe some hard work is needed for you this month, and that may just be in any area of your life, not just with your shadow work. All right, but we'll get a bit more info here for you, Gemini. Gemini, what does Gemini need to know for their shadow work, please? Okay, so at the bottom of the deck, I do have the goat energy. Okay, so that's kind of like the rebel without a cause sort of energy there. So when I'm looking at that, it just did flag to me that rebel without a cause. But we are seeing that you do have a cause, but it's a matter of really aligning yourself with that cause at the moment, Gemini. Firstly, we do have the Star card has come out for you, so that really does let us know that it's really a good time for you to sort of look within and work out exactly what it is that you do desire. The star is all about wishes and the things that you want fulfilled in this reality. All right. So it's really actually giving you that introspection to stop and look at what it is that you truly wish for. Don't be that rebel without a cause. Have that cause in mind, and really persevere to get all those wishes into the palm of your hand. All right, so it's really looking at the the things that you do truly strive towards in this life. What is it for you? Is it, is there certain things that you desire when it comes to, your abundance, your love, your job, career, your housing situation, all those sorts of things. It's being very clear with yourself about what it is that you do truly desire, and not sort of allowing anything to stop you from reaching those goals. So I'm really feeling that it's talking about clarifying what it is exactly that you do want as your sort of like end goals. And you can kind of work your way backwards and work out how to get there from there, as long as you have that clear understanding of what those desired results look like for you. Being very, very clear about what it is that you do truly wish for, and opening yourself up to, not being afraid of those deeper desires, the things that, you've probably been holding yourself back from. We do find with the wish card in the shadow work readings that, a lot of the time we've got these deep-seated desires, these things that we, would wish for magically to happen, but they actually are quite possible. And it's just a matter of, like removing any self-doubt, any fear that you cannot get those things. All right. So we do sort of feel that energy of what's holding you back from your true desires, working out exactly what your true desires are, and then sort of understanding that, with perseverance, there's nothing that can actually stand in your way from reaching those true desires, even if they're like totally, you may stop and think about it, and like, in an ideal world I want this and this and this, and it may seem like so far-fetched to you, but like if you work your way backwards and think about what would need to happen for that to happen, and then this would need to happen first, and you can work your way backwards and realize that, hang on, there are small steps I can take towards that goal. It may not actually be as far-fetched as you think it is. The far-fetched side of it is probably your logical self telling you, oh, I can't have nice things, I can't have that thing that I truly want. There's something holding you back from really, facing what you truly do desire. All right, so that's what we have with the star card. Next, we do have the house card. Okay, so I'm really feeling for you, Gemini, that there's some things that you need to face in regard to your family. All right, so the house does talk about, your sense of security and stability, but I'm really feeling that family coming through, because it can talk about like the family home, and the family is really sort of standing out to me with this card today. That there's some things to do with your family, your upbringing, your childhood, that have kind of affected your current stability, the way that you see security and stability in this world. Are you being held back by, you know, you, your beliefs, the things that you've been told to believe ever since childhood, when it comes to the things that are going to make you secure? I'm really getting this image of, um, a lot of us were raised to sort of think that, the be all end all is, the white picket fence, the 2.5 kids, but I don't think that's what it is for you, Gemini. So you're kind of fighting at the moment against this ideal. Like, you're feeling as though, everyone tells you that this is what you should want from your life, but that's not what you truly want. And so it's really asking you to look back at where that's come from. What about your family situation when you were growing up has made you believe certain things that actually go against the flow of who you are inside, Gemini? So I'm really feeling that there's something to do with, your sense of placement in this world, really. To do with those long-term goals and whatnot as well. I'm really just like keep getting drawn to that idea of, you, you feel as though externally you've got this pressure to have the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids, but that's not actually what you are drawn to as your end goals. And so it's really actually, stop fighting, Gemini. Just because everyone around you keeps telling you that you need to have this house, you need to have your house set up like this, you need to have the white picket fence, that's not true for you, Gemini. You're this rebel. You're this rebel here. You're finding your cause, all right, and your cause is not what the expectations that are put on you. It's totally different. The things that you truly desire are different from the expectations others are putting on you. So, stop holding yourself back from what it is that you truly desire, because I do feel that, Gemini, that you probably don't want this white picket fence and the 2.5 kids. That's not sitting right for you, even though you feel as though that's what's expected of you. So it's going back to your roots, basically, and working out, why do you have these expectations on yourself that actually aren't in line with your true desires, all right? And then we also have the stork energy. So the stork energy does talk about, new things being stirred up. And I do feel as though this is actually letting us know that there is a little bit of fear of, change, that things, I'm just getting that sort of stirring the pot kind of energy, that's you're kind of afraid of stirring the pot, especially when it comes to these other issues. You kind of feel as though you don't want to stir the pot, but I feel like it's kind of letting us know that, you need to stir the pot within yourself. And that will sort of guide you. It's not stirring the pot if it's in your highest good. All right, it's definitely not stirring the pot, so to speak, if you're reaching your highest good and you're acting out of your true desires and the things that you do truly desire. The only person living your life is you. Okay, so stop letting all these other people, you know, stop you from stirring those true desires up within yourself. So, this card really is about, yeah, that stirring kind of energy, things getting moved into, that gestational period where things start to grow and be formed. And I really feel as though you've been sort of fighting that, and sort of fighting against that energy a fair bit there, Gemini. So it's kind of reminding us a little bit as well to sort of go with the flow a little bit more. Really, really, allow yourself to be stirred into action, and that will actually, really flow you into the next stages. All right, so I'm just getting this energy of you kind of need to be a bit stirred up at the moment, Gemini, and once again, that perseverance. All right, so stir up your own sense of perseverance with all whatever's going on with your personal life. There really is this need for you to, stick it out and stir it up. Stir it up if you have to. Start the things that you do truly want to start. Take those small steps towards your true desires. All right. So that's what I have for that, Gemini. But like I said, we are going to look a little bit at your personal hidden truth as well today, Gemini. So I've never actually used these cards in this way before, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how that comes out, but we'll have a look. Okay, Gemini's hidden truths, please. What are Gemini's hidden truths that they need to face? Okay, so we do have, I left you before you could leave me. All right, so this is obviously, like I said, we're talking about you today, Gemini. So this is, you leaving people before they can leave you. Okay, so it's that fear coming through here with that. So, pushing people away because you're scared that they're going to push you away. It's that, eh, what's the phrase? On the offense instead of the defense. Is that the saying? It's like, yeah, you're making these moves offensively, because you're afraid that, um, you will end up, if you don't make these moves and push people away, that you will have to defend yourself against them pushing you away. So it's really coming from fear, though, Gemini. It's telling you to sort of look at those sorts of behaviors where you are pushing people away before they can get too close, before they can push you away, kind of a vibe, and really looking at those behaviors and, stopping and persevering through a lot of the time when we push people away, it's like that um, subconscious thing where you do it without even realizing it. So it's kind of like telling you to stop and persevere through that feeling. And, whenever you feel like you want to push someone away, stop and consciously attempt to let them closer. All right. So consciously stop and reveal more of yourself to that person. All right. And, sometimes people are going to push you away. Sometimes, you can't control somebody else's, reactions and behaviors. Um, so sometimes people will act that way. But, you can persevere through that and be fine with that. It's all about the acceptance. Okay. So it's like if someone pushes you away, okay, I did my best. But if you're pushing them away first, did you really do your best to allow that person in? Is what I want to say there, Gemini. So that's quite interesting. It is a defensive kind of, nature. It is something that we do have to fight against. And I'm just sort of feeling to just let you know, Gemini, that it's letting you know that you need to be a little bit more vulnerable and open to letting people close to you. Okay, because I do feel as though there probably is actually someone who does want to get a bit closer to you, and you're kind of trying to push them away a little bit. All right. We also have I regret lying to you. All right. So this regret is, one of those emotions within us that it's one of the hardest things to deal with, isn't it? And that's what I was kind of saying with that card as well. Don't regret letting someone close, because at least you let them close and you did the right thing by yourself by giving them every opportunity to be close to you. So if they still push away from you, then that's their problem. You know what I mean? That's their trauma, not yours. And whereas if you push them away before they can get too close to you, that's where regret comes into play. And you will start to regret, hang on, I pushed that person away. Maybe I didn't actually want to push that person away. And you may regret losing somebody because you've pushed them away. When, maybe if you hadn't have pushed them away, maybe they weren't going to go anywhere. Maybe they were going to, if you opened up to them and were vulnerable to them instead, maybe they would have actually, gotten closer to you and then became more vulnerable to you. It's kind of the best case, worst case scenario. You're here pushing people away, worrying about the worst case scenario. Sorry, Gemini. Whereas you're forgetting that there is also a best case scenario. All right. So I just wanted to go back through that again. But I regret lying to you. So we all are guilty of, little white lies, big lies, all sorts of lies. Okay. But lying to people, sometimes it's not even with our words that we're lying to people, where a lot of the time we're lying to ourselves about things, in a bit of denial about certain things. So it's really looking at, the idea of lying and what that means to you personally, Gemini, because, if you are in regret over a lie that you told, there's always the option to tell the truth. Um, it may be too late for that to make any effect, but that you are doing the right thing. You don't have to do that. There's no sort of need to actually go and, it's not a 12-step AA program or anything like that. So you don't actually have to do that. Sometimes we do lie to people for, their own protection and those sorts of things. I'm not going to say that that is okay. But, lying is usually a protection thing, either protection for yourself or protection for somebody else. All right. So I'm just sort of getting that vibe mostly of the whole, try to stop holding so much regret and really looking at the things that you regret in life and using those things to, stop you from using those same behaviors in the future. All right. So if there is a big lie that you've told, and you regret telling that lie, use that. You don't, like I said, you don't have to come clean or anything like that, but use that energy of regret to spur you into not making those same mistakes in the future. All right. So if you may find another opportunity comes up where you could just lie and have the exact same sort of scenarios what's happened in the past. And you could just lie and be totally fine. But there's something to be said for taking responsibility for your actions, and sometimes you know not protecting ourselves and actually owning up and taking responsibility for our actions sometimes ends up with a much better result, even though it's harder to deal with at the time, because it's taking responsibility for your own self is a huge thing. Not many people can do it. So if you can do it, Gemini, that makes you straight away being more true to yourself. All right. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, being true to yourself, being true to your highest good, and being the best version of you that you can possibly be. All right. So, like I said at the start, quite heavy a lot of the time with these readings, but I hope that that helps you in some way, Gemini. I do also suggest with the shadow work readings that your moon sign is usually quite strong in the shadow work readings as well, especially with the full moon, encompassing those. So if you wanted to watch that one as well, that would be fantastic. But make sure you do leave a comment and let me know what you thought. Everyone that comments will go in the draw for a free personal reading. So make sure you like and subscribe as well so you can keep updated about that. But hopefully I will see you all again soon.